Rise, pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Kushner,
Here.
Osborne,
Here.
Latari.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Euler.
Here. Approval of city council minutes. Motion to approve regular city council meeting minutes dated November 10th, 2025. Move to approve.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Adoption of agenda.
Move to approve agenda as presented.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a presentation tonight. I don't know if everybody read all of our notes tonight, but we have 620 pages. And we're going to read every page tonight. So presented by Jessica Venderlo, Management Analyst, presentation of the fiscal year 2025 year-end budget report.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. It's my pleasure to present to you tonight our preliminary year-end budget report for fiscal year 2025. Our fiscal year ended on September 30th, and over the next couple of months, we'll undergo a comprehensive analysis of our financial statements as part of our official audit process. But this unaudited report is just to provide a general update to the council and the community about where we're standing as the year is closing out. And it presents how revenues and expenses compared to our budget for the last fiscal year. Just as a quick note, the budget numbers in this report are the amended figures that were approved by you all back in September. This is a fairly lengthy report. So tonight I will just be hitting on the highlights of our primary funds, but I'm happy to answer any questions about any of the items within it. So first, just kind of starting with citywide funds and all funds, those summaries. There's a lot of red in the revenue columns, but it's not as scary as it seems. If we look at revenue over expenses on page 4, you can see that most of the funds received enough revenue to cover their operating expenses, which is great. For those that did not, a transfer of fund balance will be completed to cover any overage and any difference there. The majority of these instances were anticipated by staff for specific projects. So for instance, the EPC fund will use fund balance transfer to cover the McGuire sewer expenses. And then similarly for the expenses that were incurred along McGuire for the rest of the project, we'll transfer over the bond proceeds to cover those expenses there. So if we look at the kind of the revenue summary for all of our funds on page 5, I just wanted to note a few things there. As finance observed, starting around Q2, and we discussed in our budget retreats, sales tax revenue plateaued, and we did start to see kind of a slight decrease in that from the year prior. That trend did continue. It did not change throughout the rest of the year, so we did come a little under on our sales tax. We continued to see a decrease in some of our franchise fees as well, primarily cable and phone, but electric did also experience a slight decrease towards the end of the year. And as you can see, license and permit revenue came in 23% under the year before, and that is primarily due to a stark decrease in our right-of-way permitting. And then I wanted to also highlight miscellaneous and transfer revenue because those look a little odd and the way that they came under budget, but that is due to those aforementioned bond proceeds. So the entirety of the projects were accounted for in fiscal year 25, and so that's why that seems a little off in those two areas. On the all funds expense page, so that's on page 6, I want to just point out other services real quick and why that seems 5.8 million under. Similarly, that's also because of the way that those large projects were accounted for in the budget. So the WPC plants project, all 22 million was in a capital line, but then when they were actually expensing out the project, the engineering expenses, for example, were charged to other services. And so that will be adjusted later, but I just wanted to point out why that looks a little weird in the current moment. So moving now to the general fund. So that is our largest and our primary operating fund. A lot of those larger revenue trends that I just touched on also were seen within the general fund. But overall, revenue in total exceeded our estimates at the beginning of the year by about 2%. And overall, the general fund is ending the year in a very favorable position. Departments manage their budgets quite well. There are a few notes in general about expenses on those following 2 pages. And the departments are further detailed out for your viewing pleasure, but there's no red flags that I'm going to bring to your attention about the general fund. As I mentioned, ending the year in a very favorable position. So now talking about water pollution control or sewer. So our charges for service, so those fees that we send out every month in people's sewer bills, those came in 12% higher than fiscal year 24. Because as you remember, at the beginning of the fiscal year, we did a rate increase. And so that came in as expected and even actually a bit above some of our initial estimates when we completed the budget. The fund, as I mentioned earlier, is going to end the year with a deficit, but that was fully anticipated because we were going to dip into reserves to cover the McGuire sewer expenses. It's also smaller than some of our initial estimates, so that's also great news as well. Any other small things of note are in those notes columns, but again, ending the year as expected. So for Parks and Recreation, while their revenue did come in higher than the year prior, it did come in a bit under budget. The sales tax flattening trend that we discussed did impact parks, and use tax also came in a bit under. That fund budgeted for use tax a bit more aggressively than some of our other funds, so that's kind of why we are reserving this trend here. And service and merch was also impacted primarily due to admissions at NASIF. As you remember, the weather at the beginning of the season was very unfavorable, and so I think that kind of impacted some of those revenues there. So that's kind of given this revenue picture and some of the other things that came up through parks throughout the year. So they had some large maintenance expenses. We had a water leak at the pool. So there was kind of a lot of these large unexpected things that came up, coupled with our need to absorb the minimum wage increase. They had some increased expenses that they weren't necessarily anticipating, but they did take proactive moves to lower capital expenses to try to kind of buffer this, but they will end the year at a deficit, but they have adequate fund balance to cover this. So no worries there. I also want to touch on our CIP funds really briefly. So we have two of those, as you know, the CIP transportation and the CIP half-cent sales tax. Those are both ending the year in a favorable position as well. And as we discussed throughout our budget retreats and our budget process, the comprehensive financial model takes into account spending down the reserves in these funds over the length of the model. And so we kind of have been factoring in these projections as we go. In your appendix, there's a fund balance table if you had any questions about that. There's also a project status list in your appendix because the savings in these funds are due to a variety of factors. So natural project savings for bids that came in under. We also deferred a couple of projects, most notably Cedar Court to fiscal year 26, as well as our security grades at City Hall. And in some projects also utilized other funding sources. For example, our overlay program for the streets, we utilized GeoBond funds so that we could spend those down because those could be spent on any road projects. So we were utilizing some other expend as well. So moving on to page 30 for solid waste. So as you remember, when we were developing the budget for this in fiscal year 25, initially, we were still kind of finalizing the details of this program, what it would look like. And service did not begin until almost halfway through the fiscal year for solid waste. So revenue here was assumed at a full year. We only had 7 months, and we also billed in arrears. So given all of those things, this performed very, very well. Further, solid waste did not need the entire amount of the general fund transfer, which was kind of talked about throughout the year. We were observing that. So that is also fantastic. The modest surplus left at the end of a year, about $25,000, will go towards building a fund balance for this fund so that they can cover any unexpected costs that come up or operating deficits in future years. Because of the way that revenue is recognized for enterprise funds, next year they will only have 46 out of 48 billing cycles. And so this surplus will be able to kind of cover that as we move forward. So I will stop there. Happy to answer any questions you might have. And I will also quickly mention this report will be available on our website on the finance page where we keep all of our financial statements so that people can view them if they so please. So thank you all so much.
When does this get audited? When do we get that final?
Yes, so the auditors, I think, will be here for their first pre-audit field work, December 16th. If I got the date wrong, I will correct it in our staff when I do my staff update. But yeah, they'll be here soon to start that off. So anticipating results probably January, February. And they'll of course come and present that to you as well.
So you touched on this briefly, but you went really quickly and it's a lot of numbers. So can you please go back to page 5, the revenue summary?
If I jumbled things up when I was going through. I apologize. Like you mentioned, I was zooming through this and then I got my pages all jumbled up. You said page 5?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Could you say again, what is in that miscellaneous amount of revenue, just generally? I'm not asking for.
Yes, of course.
point
So
by
the,
point.
the majority of that would be those $22 million in revenue bonds that we got for SRF. The full amount was accounted for in fiscal year 25, even though we received them on a reimbursement basis. So when the project incurs costs, then we get a reimbursement from the Missouri Department of Revenue. So that's what we budgeted for the full 22 million. There's also like interest proceeds in there as well, but the majority of that amount for this year was those bonds.
Okay, and say what SRF is, please. remind
State
me.
revolving fund.
State revolving fund, thank
Yeah,
you.
so the contributing factor for that showing up as if the revenue is short by that much is the fact that the 2025 budgeted for the entirety of the McGuire
Gotcha.
bond proceeds as if they were going to come in a lump sum when they're actually just being reimbursed as expenses were incurred.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's not a revenue shortfall as much as it was kind of an overstatement of the revenue when the budget was put together.
Okay, and I think it would be helpful for, I mean, for me, that's, I don't know if anybody else is gonna read it the way we read it, but that was a big, like, that's a big number to call
Sorry, yeah.
miscellaneous. So if there could be just a note
Oh, of course. yes.
about that, I don't think we need it in every single miscellaneous line in the budget overview, but something that's that large, I think it would be really great to just say that's what we mean by, it's not just a whole bunch of miscellaneous, it's really one particular item for the most part. Thank you. And just in general, just a reminder to please spell out or explain acronyms early and often, because I know what a geo bond is now, but I'm gonna guess again, a lot of folks don't, well, I couldn't explain it like one of you could explain, but I know what it stands for. But you know, the first use of it is just in the table of contents and it's not explained. So again, just try to mitigate or at least kind of over explain what all of those acronyms
Yes,
are.
of course. I can
Thank
include a glossary whenever I
Thank
put the
you.
report on the website. Any other questions?
Thank you
Just have
very
a-
much.
Quick question, solid waste, do we have an allowance for bad debt in there, or is that, how does that show up?
Yeah, so we will,
Okay.
as we do upcome, since it is an enterprise fund, the way that that's calculated. Well, also, as we go through the next year, we plan on doing like cash flow reports so that we can see how much revenue we're actually taking in. But yes, it will account for bad debt, just like sewer does.
Any other question? Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you so
I
much.
could offer just a couple comments. I think it's obvious Jessica's command of the information.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
she and Caroline both are an incredible resource, and this document is very well put together. First draft looked great. And then out of all of this, I think the one thing that I would tell you, the takeaway that it might be of note is we need to pay attention to the sales tax performance. Beyond that, all of this is as anticipated, accounted for, either as we reviewed it, certainly as we put the financial model together and as we put the 2026 budget together. So there are a lot of fluctuations, variations from budget, but not really a whole lot here of financial concern. Probably the biggest concern I see is just paying attention to our sales tax performance. And then certainly give Jessica the opportunity to throw anything else if I missed anything in there. I think that's exciting.
Right, thank you. Item 6, public hearing on a resolution approving the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA Transition Plan 2025 update for the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, presented by Brett Penrose, CBO, Chief Building Official and ADA Coordinator. Hello, Brett.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm back with an update of the ADA transition plan. We, per the ADA law, we update it every 3 years. And so starting in the spring of this year, I inspected all city-owned properties, which included 13 buildings, 9 parks, 7 parking lots, all with the idea of re-inspecting ADA compliance issues, as well as looking for new issues that may have come up since our last update 3 years ago. Our plan also includes a citywide survey of the city's intersections where we track accessibility improvements made to sidewalks and sidewalk ramps through the Public Works Department's curb and sidewalk and street overlay programs. In addition to our facilities, we also evaluate the city's programs and services that we make available to the public. As part of that evaluation, we provide training to all of our staff who work directly with the public on a daily basis. This year, we conducted 4 training sessions for frontline staff at the cemetery, City Hall, the police department, and the community center. In these sessions, employees were trained on accessibility awareness issues such as grievance procedures and handling requests for program and policy modifications. It's about 140 pages.
We know.
I don't know if you
Looked at them all.
look it over. Do you have any questions?
The only question I had, I noticed that with some of them you had cost estimates.
Mhm.
So, do we have a total, if we did everything, do we have a total cost estimate?
I
for
don't have a
everything?
total.
Okay. And will some of these be included in future budgets?
Take that one. Yes, we'll incorporate this level of detail into our budgeting and planning as
For
well.
the next year?
Yep.
Okay, great.
That's a great report. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
so much detail
Very
and
thorough.
having to go in every building and location the city has. I didn't know we had so much.
We do, and especially parks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was one of my questions was, that we've already chatted about was, it'd be nice to have just a very basic outline of by fiscal year, just what we're estimating we're gonna be, like when some of these things are gonna be done. And what the estimated total is by fiscal year, but knowing that that's gonna shift and change, so. But this, I just really appreciate it. It also opened my eyes and made me reappreciate how much work there is to do and how detailed you have to be and all the facilities managers as well. So thank you.
anything else?
It's a public hearing, so.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments?
I do not have a sign-in sheet. So thank you, Mayor Euler, for asking if anyone is here for public comment.
No public comments? No? All right, we will close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7.1, a resolution approving, a resolution approving the Americans with Disability Act ADA Transition Plan 2025 update for the city of Warrensburg, Missouri. Presented by Brett, but Brett just did, so.
As presented.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you. Yep.
Item 8.1, an ordinance approving the filing of a tax lien on a property located at 111 East Parsons Avenue for the purpose of abating a public nuisance in the fall 2025, presented by Barbara Carroll, AICP, Director of Community Development.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. You may recall earlier this summer, we had the property mowed for the first time. This is the property of the site of the former Rib Crib Restaurant on the north end of town. And oddly, the grass grew back after I had it mowed in June. And so we went through another process with a public hearing and again, gave the property owner time to mow and they did not do that, made no responses to the city. And so we had another hearing in September and the property was mowed there during October. And so that should last us through the remainder of this year. And then next spring, we will evaluate and see if we need to begin the process again next summer. Hopefully we won't, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. So this did cost less than last time to have it mowed. Almost slightly, little more than half as much, but that was because having had it mowed, it was easier to go back the second time, less handwork, less detail work. And so this lien is for $440.52. And we would request approval of the ordinance placing that lien on the property.
Motion to approve. Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance approving the filing of a tax lien on a property located at 111 East Parsons Avenue for the purpose of abating a public nuisance in fall 2025. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.2, an ordinance accepting dedication of public easements for the McGuire Street construction from Young Street to Broad Street, presented by Phil Adlich, interim public works director.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. This ordinance is to accept all of the easements that we went out and acquired along the corridor, McGuire corridor, for phases 1, 2, and 3. So the future EC grant work that is also going to be performed. This is just making those easements, final and saying we're accepting all of that. A lot of the work is already done, but we got them before the work started. And now we're finally got the EC easements available, done, and now we're presenting them to you for acceptance. So staff recommends that we approve this.
That's a fantastic job getting all the easements.
Joe Clifford.
Wow.
A lot. It was a
302
lot.
pages.
And I'm down.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
A lot of time on task on Joe's part in particular.
Yeah, Joe did a great job on that and everybody did involved with it, but I know some of them are really tough, but it's fantastic. Look where we are, so. Congratulations.
Motion to move to second reading by title?
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance accepting dedication of public easements for the McGuire Street construction from Young Street to Broad Street. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 8.3, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to enter into a lease agreement with Old Drum Animal Shelter for the animal shelter facility, presented by Michael D. Scragg, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As I believe you well know, the Old Drum Animal Shelter has an agreement with the county, an operational agreement for the operation of the animal shelter and funding of the animal shelter. And then they enter into a lease with us for the building and property. It's an annual lease. It's a 1-year lease, and so it's up for renewal. What's before you is identical to the prior lease, with the exception of changing the date. It does, I did provide a summary in the council letter there for you, kind of the highlights of the lease. It does make provision for, notice of termination if that became necessary, but it's a 1-year lease for $1 rent.
Questions? Nope.
Can we get $1.25 a year?
With CPI, it'd be like $1.03
Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to enter into a lease agreement with Old Drum Animal Shelter for the animal shelter facility. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.4, an ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to enter into an agreement between the city of Warrensburg and Johnson County Emergency Services Board for the use of a facility located at 315 Hawthorne Boulevard in Warrensburg for an emergency operations center, presented by Kenneth D. Jennings, CFO Fire Chief.
Mayor, council, hello. Good evening. This ordinance before you this evening, as it kind of went through, is an agreement between us and the Johnson County Emergency Services Board, better known probably as Johnson County Central Dispatch, but that is the board that governs them. for an emergency operations center. A little background history, as you'll probably remember from my very exciting presentation last fall, we are responsible for our own emergency management. A function of that is establishing an emergency operations center, or EOC. We would typically use this in a larger scale disaster where we would need to bring all of the emergency or a certain number of the emergency service functions together to communicate and respond to the emergency. Currently, the last few years, we've had an agreement with Johnson County Emergency Management to use their EOC, which is located in their main office south of town. They did charge a fee to use that facility. Prior to that, we essentially had an EOC in a box, and our plan was to use the community development conference room downstairs at City Hall. There's some disadvantages to that location, just access and the train and all that proximity. So when Chief Shaw was here, we moved it down south to that EOC. Exploring some options and limited budget that we typically have with emergency management, we talked to dispatch. They're a facility that was built in 2014 that houses dispatch, was built to withstand up to an EF5 tornado, which is a handy feature in an EOC. So we began talking to them after we found some limitations to the remoteness of their CAD capabilities this past year. So by having it there, we have direct access to dispatch. We have generator backup, strong building, good facility to use if we need to act. So this agreement would be no cost to us. The agreement outlines responsibilities of both parties, what we provide, what they provide. It does accommodate access upon request to have training every year there to stand it up and kind of exercise it. And then anything else beyond that upon requests and the availability. So would definitely recommend moving this forward, passing this agreement. I think it'll be a good step forward in establishing a more robust and secure EOC for our operations in the future. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I like using the idea of using resources, public resources, and sharing those resources rather than trying to create your own thing separate when there's something there that you can use and share with somebody else. So I'm gonna move to, let's see, what is it? Move to second reading by title only.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager and city clerk to enter into an agreement between the city of Warrensburg and Johnson County Emergency Services Board for the use of a facility located at 315 Hawthorne Boulevard in Warrensburg for an emergency operations center. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.5, an ordinance to repeal ordinance 5992 as duplicative to ordinance 5972 adopted August 11th, 2025, presented by Phil Adledge.
Evening, Mayor, City Council, and all my exciting easements, I just didn't realize I'd done this one already, and so last council meeting, I brought forth the easement there at Pine and Warren, and we'd already done that in August, so
We didn't catch it either.
Yeah, we did. Clearly we did it,
it's
yeah.
just so exciting. But so
It was a long meeting.
Yeah.
the city record is straight and accurate, we'd like to repeal that ordinance, so.
Motion to move to second reading by title.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance to repeal ordinance 5992 is duplicative to ordinance 5972 adopted August 11th, 2025. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.6, an ordinance authorizing the city of Warrensburg, Missouri to approve the purchase of a Lenco Bearcat Armored Response Vehicle for public safety and emergency response purposes, presented by Andy Munsterman, Police Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thanks for letting me present this tonight. In our comprehensive financial model that we discussed last summer, we had money in the funds in the general fund for this purchase. We've had situations over the years where this would have been beneficial for officers and civilians, for the public, for their safety as well. I see that there's a need for it. We had a 1970s bread truck that we used to use, and we moved forward with kind of a Band-Aid in 16 and 17 with the Brinks truck. We put some money into that one, but it is a 2003 International. It's got 281,000 miles on it, which it's a diesel. They'll last a long time, but underneath it's pretty rusted, and it's time to probably move forward with a future plan. So any questions?
My only question was, and I think it was covered in here a couple, or mentioned a couple places, is about where it is able to be serviced.
Service, that is a good
Something
question.
our local Ford.
I believe we'll be able to have it. It's a diesel, so we'd be able to have it serviced at a local
Oh.
mechanic shop. The tires, now I did talk with Highway Patrol, and the tires for them are a little different for getting replaced. We are getting a spare with it, but I believe with this newer version, I think they've solved that problem, because they had one get shot up in a response, and their window was shot, and then the tires were messed up, and it took them a while to get it back in service. So some trying things we'll have to research and
Sure.
figure some of that out, but I believe it takes 1.5 years to be built. It's being built, would be built out in Pennsylvania,
Right.
or Pittsfield, Massachusetts. It's a United States being built in the United States. So.
Yeah, I saw it designed and manufactured here. That's great. Thank you.
I appreciate you including a photograph,
Yeah.
so we
Well,
know it does
little
not look
screenshot.
like a military
I was
vehicle.
trying to answer questions before they arose, and I wanted you to have a visual of it.
Mhm, Appreciate that.
I pulled that off their website, and then did a little more research, comparing it to the other armored vehicles, and this is a standard for police usage. I saw Sedalia they got a different type of vehicle, but it's researching it. It looked more like it's more for security, and which would be a good vehicle for police response, but this one would be more for police response, but SWAT response as well. We do run that joint SWAT team, so.
If I could, one thing of note, we had $402,000 in the financial model. It turned out to be 438,000.
38,000.
But there's ample capacity in the model and the fund balance. The difference.
When do you take delivery of?
It sounds like it's 1.5 years out on the bill. We gotta get on the list, I'm bringing it forward, because we started looking at getting another bid on it. Refreshing that bid, and they said, I wouldn't do that if you can get this forward before end of December. Then, if we don't get another bid, it'll save you 26,000. So
There we go.
by us bringing it forward now instead of waiting, it's gonna save that amount. If we went back and said, hey, freshen this bid, and they redo it, then that's the cost of it. It's going up 6%. So.
How do they get it from, they don't drive it.
So they can, that's a good question. Mike and I, the city manager and I have had discussion with Major Fiddler. We've, thought it'd be neat to send a couple officers out to bring it back, but I don't know if I like the idea of trailering it back, and it's new here once it's here, but it would save us if we did do that, send officers out, and it would be neat for them, but that's stuff we're gonna have to discuss, because they do, in the bid, the deliveries in the bid on
Oh,
this.
okay.
So
Yeah, I said
they-
it'd be neat for the first 150 miles.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
get pretty-
Right.
Right.
Not exactly luxury, designed for
Right, yeah.
luxury road travel. Yeah.
It's not a sports car by any means.
We appreciate being invited to the policeman.
Thank you
Award
again for
Center.
coming. Appreciate everybody.
No, it was fantastic, and it's so nice of you to do that, to honor all your police officers, and
Very nice.
And Clark Holdren toward
Be proud
him.
of.
And your entertainment was really good too.
Yeah, it was, you know.
It's real reasonable too. We appreciate it every year, so thanks for showing.
It was great. Thank you.
Showing support. Thank you. Any question, any other question?
Move to second reading by title only.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city of Warrensburg, Missouri to approve the purchase of a Lenco Bearcat armored rescue vehicle for public safety and emergency response purposes. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.7, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a master equity lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management, presented by City Manager Mike Scragg.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, as you can tell, this is a culmination of a handful of things that were in our budget conversations and our financial model, some pretty significant items. This it relates to enterprise transitioning to enterprise fleet management. You may recall Ken Olson was representative of Enterprise and presented to you previously and explained the program. He is on the line. He's actually attending multiple meetings tonight. He got out of one in time to join us. So Ken, you are unmuted. Just wanted to forewarn you that if any questions come up that I can't answer, may have to rely on Ken. But as you may recall from those conversations, as well as the financial model, what we budgeted for and what the model provides for is creating a fleet fund so that we have kind of a revolving, and we have a dedicated fund for fleet vehicles, not necessarily all of our fleet vehicles, the ones that are eligible or within the type of vehicle that Enterprise manages. So passenger vehicles, patrol vehicles, trucks up to a ton. We've had some conversation about the possibility of larger, but for the sake of the conversation we've had so far, we budgeted for $100,000 transfer from the general fund to start a fund balance in the fleet fund. Then the enterprise program assesses our fleet, helps us identify vehicles that are ready for replacement, helps identify the lowest cost of operation and ownership opportunity for a vehicle by make and manufacturer. And in my experience with them elsewhere, Enterprise is extremely helpful in being able to get the attention of the manufacturers, get on their production schedules, minimize cost, maximize government discounts. And then, as you may recall, they also then help to transfer those vehicles, sell them on the private market, and trying to maximize the government discount and the private resale value. It actually helps lower maintenance costs, it helps our fleet get younger, helps us be more comprehensive in our fleet planning rather than just kind of one or two vehicles at a time. And so the model that we put together was the $100,000 transfer to start the fund, and then $350,000 a year for enterprise fleet management. This item is entering into that master lease agreement with them, and then on an ongoing basis, Enterprise, myself as the city manager, the department heads will sit down and look at the fleet, look at the opportunities, and manage purchase and disposal of vehicles. And those things you'll be kept apprised of that, but that'll be kind of an ongoing conversation as we size up the market, we size up the fleet. The other thing that I want to be sure that you're aware is this does not include water pollution control. That's its own fund, and we may be back tackling that, nor does it include parks. Parks, from their budget and finances, we may need to have a isolated conversation about how this might work for them. So it is the general fund, police department, fire department, non-fire engines. It's the bulk of our fleet. It's a good portion of it, and it's a opportunity to kind of get a plan in place and stabilize our fleet operations and maintenance. Be happy to answer any questions, and as I said, Ken Olson's on the line if we have detailed questions for
The only
him.
question I had was, I know there was an option to have maintenance included. Does this
Yeah.
include the maintenance or
This
not?
does not. We can have more conversations about how that might work, but this is
is-
targeting a fleet replacement.
Okay. That was my only question.
Any other questions or comments? I think we're looking forward to it. I know you have experience from Salina
Yeah,
with it.
it's
so.
There's a lot of vehicles to manage. This helps just in terms of getting your arms around it, and financially, it's been very beneficial in the last community I was in.
Financially and more reliability with.
Yeah, noticeably more reliable and newer fleet in better shape.
Sorry, I did have one.
Okay, great.
The state of Missouri contract that's there,
Mhm.
is that an example, or is that
Yeah,
because they?
the cooperative purchase, it's an example of
Okay.
cooperative purchasing as we then enter into an agreement with Enterprise.
Okay, gotcha. So they have an agreement with the state, is it?
Correct. Yeah.
We do. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We have the state of Missouri contract award for fleet
Oh,
management.
Voice from above. Nice, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Motion to move to second reading by title only.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a master equity lease agreement with Enterprise Fleet Management. This is for adoption or rejection. Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. This is quite a transportation night, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Checking quite a few boxes.
Yeah.
Hope everybody's happy with this. All right. Item 9.1, a resolution directing the city manager of the city of Warrensburg to execute a letter of intent for purchase and prepay of fire engines for fiscal year 2026 for new manufacturer Spartan S-180 pumper trucks, presented by Chief Jennings.
Good evening. Just leading off here, I want to clarify one thing. Engine, we call them engines. The industry calls them pumpers. So engine equals pumper, pumper equals engine.
Gotcha.
Well,
Just
thank
we-
you, because
as
I
we go
thought
through.
that's for.
And trucks is trucks.
And trucks are trucks. The comprehensive financial model included the purchase of one fire engine in FY 26 and a second one in FY 27. These purchases were intended to replace our current primary response vehicles that we purchased in 2017 and 2018. Once those were replaced, those primary that we have now would move to reserve status. The 2008 reserves, we have two of those. Those would then be sold and removed from the fleet. So after the 26 budget was adopted, we had an internal apparatus committee that began evaluating fire engine manufacturers to identify apparatus that met our operational needs, safety, and long-term maintenance needs of the department. The reason that we built into the model, the schedule that we did, the NFPA, or National Fire Protection Association, recommends replacing primary response engines no later than 15 years after manufacture and then completely retired by 25 years after manufacture. There's a lot of factors that go into that kind of contribute to that and give you some flexibility. But the city has really tried to have those replaced every 10 years and have them on a 20-year life cycle. There's some advantages to that. Keeps things, like we've mentioned, reliable, safety features up to date, keeps everything in just a more reliable and ready response state. Replacing those engines every 10 years was built into that complete model through the life of it. Let's see, the 2008 engines have progressively required more maintenance. The 2017 engine, we did an in-frame motor rebuild last year. That was $30,000 alone. Year to date, our maintenance and repair on just the engine fleet, so the 208s and the 17 and 18, is at $25,500. So that's something expected over the life of the vehicle. I will say that there are more costs than what we used to experience with the new emission standards and all of the inner workings of those sensors and tanks and whatever else. So that has driven some of that cost. As far as the selection process, the committee began looking at just kind of everything that was out there manufacturer-wise, which there's quite a few. And just kind of looking at layouts, functionality, all that. Reviews, talking to other departments and their success stories or stay away from stories. Following that initial review, they narrowed it down to two primary manufacturers, which were Pierce Manufacturing, which is the brand that we currently have, and Spartan. So after that, they met with representatives from each of those companies and kind of outlined what the minimum specifications were going to need to be for our engines. Each of those came back with detailed drawing specifications, kind of laid everything out, and established pricing that they obtained through the Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, which is really the most common co-op that fire trucks are purchased off of anymore for the past several years. We broke them down between those two. So Pierce was represented by McQueen towards the east side of the state, and Spartan was represented by Feld Equipment. And again, the Grain Valley area, primarily out of Iowa, is their headquarters. So everything was compared as close to apples and apples as we could. So one was kind of a green apple, red apple, as close as we could get. Pierce came in with one pumper at $1,133,400, and then with prepayment, which I'll get into a little bit more later, just a little over $1 million. Both of those with a 24 to 32 month delivery. These were the numbers that we primarily budgeted off of. Having come from Pierce, we looked at just replacing exactly what we had on the floor, and that's where we budgeted for the next couple of years on those prices. Spartan was $986,097 with a 10-month delivery, with prepayment $960,057. So after a complete review of everything and boiling everything down, the committee ended up choosing Spartan as the next sought after fire truck for us. The model that was presented, the S180, it's a stock model. So essentially what they did is they took generally everything that fire departments and firefighters are looking for, and they put it into a pre-engineered model. So it allows them to keep that production line consistent and move trucks a lot quicker. So that makes up a lot of that difference in the 10 months versus the 24 to 32. It also impacts cost quite a bit. It does, as far as fully customized engines, what we've done in the past, we have a little less option, but we're still able to accomplish everything that we needed to do for function with that. With that 10-month delivery, it does change up our model a little bit. So we'd anticipated working on that now, expecting the 2 to 3 year delivery so that we hit correctly. So we'll be about a year ahead on one and a year and a half on the other, which is not a bad thing. So given kind of the history of fire truck production, that gives us a little bit of buffer on the back end if we end up needing it down the road. So some cost considerations to look at with prepayment, like I said, is a little bit lower, $960,000. The reason they do that is if you prepay, they essentially take that and kind of give us the difference in what they would earn with it sitting somewhere making some interest. So prepayment $960, delivery, if we were paid at delivery, $986. So as we started looking at it and talking about it, they started talking about new emission standards coming in 26, 27. With those at minimum for that exact model, they're anticipating about a $65,000 price increase to retool the cab and how the engine's housed and everything to go along there. The other thing is they really don't know what that looks like yet because it's still kind of up in the air with everything that's going on. So we started looking at, knowing we were looking at one this year and looking at one in the next fiscal year, what that would look like if we ended up going for 2 engines, if there was to be any savings there. Some advantages there, avoid those future cost increases, just inflation in general. If we bought 2, Feld offered a $10,000 price reduction on each engine, so $20,000 total. And then it would standardize that those 2 engines coming in, while there probably wouldn't be drastic changes that we couldn't overcome, they would be exactly the same. So, you know, at Station 1, they wouldn't reach for a cabinet, it wouldn't be there anymore in the next model year, something like that. With all that considered, 2 Spartan engines, if we prepaid, is 1.9, a little over 1.9 million. And if we paid a delivery, it's 1,952,194. So just right out of the chute, at least there's a minimum of $117,000 savings to do with prepay and the anticipated 27 increase. So some advantage there. The comprehensive financial model assumed lease purchasing of the fire engine in 26 with at 1.2 million with an annual debt service of 149,250 for 10 years. And then in 27, a purchase price of 1.3 million and an annual debt service of 162,000 for 10 years. Purchasing these both together, we'll see $599,886 less than was originally modeled in that with those changes. Based off the initial estimates through Todd Goffey with Piper Sandler, assuming 4% interest, it models out right now kind of roughly about $75,000 savings over that 10-year, each year over the next 10 years. So that is broken down. City Manager Scraig put that together in your packet in that spreadsheet. If you want to kind of see how that financing breaks down over that period. So some things are the consideration tonight with the resolution. The pricing that we have is good till December 17th. Another factor in there is Spartan has so many build spots, production spots that they have each year based off of the motors that they have coming in. So as of last week, there were about 35. There's some timing issues there. So the letter of interest tonight, our letter of intent tonight would secure build spots at the price that they've presented. It doesn't legally obligate us to finish anything out if we can't come to terms on a contract, if we don't secure financing, something like that. The letter of intent, we can get it out of it pretty easy by saying, hey, we're out. But to give that letter of intent, we do have to identify the number of spots that we done. So the number of apparatus, and then if we would prefer prepayment or payment at delivery. So those are some of the considerations. There's an item after this evening that would, a resolution that would declare our intent to seek those terms of the financing as it comes, and City Manager Scraig will present that to you here in a little bit. So also included in your packet tonight was the fire department portion of the financial model that shows that savings and then the fund balance as it goes through till 2037. So with all that said, some options for you this evening. Pass the resolution for the letter of intent to purchase two with the prepayment option. And waiting for that contract to be executed that we would anticipate bringing to you the first meeting in January. The second would be to pass a resolution for two engines with payment upon delivery. The third option would be to pass the resolution with a letter of intent to purchase one engine with prepayment. The fourth, pass the resolution, letter of intent, one engine, payment upon delivery. Or to postpone this consideration, understanding that doing so, we might run into some different pricing, build spots, delivery times, things like that. Or the sixth, provide alternate direction to staff regarding the matter. Or seven, choose not to proceed with purchasing fire engines at this time. Staff recommendation is option one, passing the resolution for the letter of intent to purchase two engines with the prepayment cost as laid out to avoid increases in costs, production delays, and those other things associated. So a lot of information. Be happy to answer any questions.
You gave us too many choices. So thank you for telling us what your recommendation is. And based on that, I move to approve the resolution.
I have a question.
Do you have any questions, Susan?
Yeah, so no concerns about the purchasing of them, but I just want to make sure I understand something about the standardization versus stock. So on the second page, on the first full paragraph that starts following an initial review. Oops, nope, I apologize, I'm in the wrong place, I'm sorry. Further down on the second page about the middle, this paragraph that starts following a comprehensive review of design specifications. So the selected unit is a stock model with limited customization. That I understand. And then on the next page though, under the heading cost considerations, again, this is the next page, that paragraph that starts standardization of the fleet is also a design priority. it says purchasing a stock design presents a risk of design changes year by year. So we're planning to purchase stock, two that are stock with minimal changes. Is this presenting of just a potential concern that if we purchase those two that are both stock and standardized to each other, there's a concern that in the near future, some needed design changes may come up? Is that what I understand?
I see where that could be confusing, so I'll clarify.
Okay.
By purchasing two at the same time, off this model line, they'll be identical. Purchasing one in 26, we would run the risk if they re-engineered design or something in a 27 model, that some things may not be exactly different. They may be a 48-inch compartment on the passenger side and they change it to 46 to
Gotcha.
adjust the pump panel for something. Most of the time, it's going to be very minimal.
Right.
But there are some changes in there. So the idea with the two that are fairly close, or in this case will be identical,
Yeah.
is that ability to, as our staff bounces between different stations, is
Yeah.
the truck that they're used to.
Right, yeah.
We've had that advantage since 1995. Those were sister trucks. The 2008s were at the same time. The 17 and 18 were the first year that we did staggering year.
Yeah.
So there's some slight differences. A couple of things you're like, do this a little different.
Yeah.
But no, those two will be standardized in 10 years. I'm not sure what fire trucks will look like.
Sure.
So each model year changes slightly,
Gotcha.
but the advantage of the stock is it's built out to accommodate, like I said, what the industry is really kind of leaning into the most. And it helps speed up that production and consequently the cost.
Okay, thank you. Because obviously it makes the perfect sense to that we would have, if at all possible, two of the very same trucks for speed and efficiency and safety of your staff and all of that. So I just want to make sure I understood those descriptions. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments for Chief? Nope. We have a resolution.
Motion to approve resolution, letter of intent, to purchase two engines using the prepayment method.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yeah.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9.2, a resolution to declare the official intent of the city of Warrensburg to finance the cost of two fire engines, presented by Mike Scragg, city manager.
So this is a companion item to the item that you just considered, and the previous item was our letter of intent with the manufacturer. This is now our statement of our intent to lease finance to fund them. And so between our financial advisor and our bond counsel, they prepared this, and this will then be the authorization to get started on the solicitation of bids for lease purchase financing. They anticipate they'll probably go out for private placement with local banks and regional banks, and the financial estimates that you saw as part of the prior item came from our financial advisor based on what they're seeing in the market, and is very consistent with the financial model that we put together. So with this authorization tonight, between now and the January meeting, we'll get to work and come back to you with responses to requests for financing.
Questions? Motion to approve resolution as presented.
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other vehicles anybody needs?
Hey, there's not many left.
Scooters, are we doing those bird scooters?
All right. Item 10, mayoral appointments. Motion to approve mayoral appointments as follows. A, appoint Kristen Dorman as a board member for the Warrensburg Economic Coalition for a 4-year term through December 2029. B, reappoint Mike Scragg as a board member for the Warrensburg Economic Coalition for a 4-year term through December 2029. C, appoint Linda Baker as a park board director for the Warrensburg Parks and Recreation Board to fill an unexpired term through June 2026. And D, appoint Mike Scragg as a board member for the Spirit Trails Coalition, a Missouri nonprofit organization, to serve a continuous term until a successor is duly noted.
Motion to approve?
Kushner,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Latari,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 11, appearances to the council not listed on the agenda. There are none. Miscellaneous matters from the mayor and or city council. Item 13, city staff update, city manager.
I don't have a whole lot. As I said earlier, tonight's actions were the culmination of quite a bit of cooperation and collaboration by staff as well as you as the city council and implementation of our a lot of big items out of our comprehensive financial model. So feel pretty good about that. A good way to finish out the year. We don't anticipate the need for a city council meeting in the second meeting of the month in December, which would be the week of Christmas. So the other thing that I would tell you is you may not see, you may see that I'm out of the office here a little bit between funeral leave, the last half of this week, and then needing to use up some of my PTO before year end. I'll be gone the back half of this week, the week of Christmas, the week of New Year's. But those 2 weeks I'll be in town and just killing time.
Good, glad you're taking the time.
And also welcome back, Kristen, or is she back yet?
Not yet. So mid-January is the. Yep.
January 12th. City staff update, Administrative Services Department.
I just want to confirm the auditors will be here for their pre-audit and for the beginning of their field work, December 16th. And then we can expect a report from them the first few months of 2026. And we will be using the same auditors as the year before. We're on the last year of their term.
Great.
Other than that, anything else?
Thanks, Chester. City staff update, city clerk.
I just posted in the packet a reminder that tomorrow is the first day of signups for candidate filings. So 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll do lottery tomorrow as in compliance with the state statute. We advertise that as a lottery. So the folks that come in tomorrow, whenever they sign up tomorrow, will choose a number. And that's how they'll be listed on the ballot. And then after that, it'll be by date and time through December 30th. So tomorrow's the beginning, 8 o'clock a.m. through December 30th at 5 o'clock p.m. And then we'll bring that back to you to certify. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. 13.4, city staff update, community development.
I have nothing besides the written report.
Thank you.
13.5, city staff update, fire department.
The November stats are in your packet. I do want to highlight, I was presented on behalf of the Warrensburg Fire Department from the Office of the Secretary of Defense, employer support of the Guard and Reserves. So one of our employees that is in the reserves nominated the department for helping cover those positions and making sure that they can continue to serve the country. So that was presented to the department. They have to list who's in charge of that department. So I got to receive it, but continued support there. It is an award that was presented to Chief Johnston years ago. So it's a good thing to be able to continue to support that mission with our partnerships there. So.
Thank you for that, Chief.
City staff update, Parks Department.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just a couple of things to celebrate, some updates. At the November Park Board meeting, our Park Board recognized Barry and Diane Whitworth as our volunteers of the year. And for the work that they do with the Blaine Whitworth Bigger Go Home, Go Big or Go Home Foundation. And the time and donations of time they spent in the last 2 years to build us 12 pickleball courts. And a lot of that was with our work with in-house staff. And we gave them a plaque and was very much appreciated at that meeting. Just kind of rolling right into that, we also recognize what we would like to call our community partner of the year, and that is Public Works. And the street department, their assistance with the renovation of the tennis courts, pickleball courts, the extended parking that we did at the soccer fields, Hawthorne Park development in the past, and many other projects since I've been here and before that. So Phil was there that evening. Thank you so much, Phil. You pass that on to all of your group. Our Parks and Recreation Department very much appreciates that partnership. On some other news, the winter and spring brochure activity guide is going to be coming out soon with the legend, of course. And that'll be out the next week or two. And there'll be a recap of some of the accomplishments that we've had. We have Grover Park as our featured park this year with those improvements I just talked about, which is the pickleball courts and the renovating of the tennis courts, as well as putting in a new outdoor basketball court on Grover Park, as well as getting some outdoor sports lighting. A lot of this done in-house, which saved us quite a bit of money financially. And starting next Monday is the reconstruction of the community center front desk and lobby area, the hallways and locker room. We have put large posters and at both entrances explaining the project, I think, very well as diagrams. So anybody that comes in, they can see exactly what is going on. And if they have any questions, we also have an extended letter that I've presented at the front desk if they're asking different questions about things. And of course, I will be there to answer any questions they may have. So we want to make sure that we're out in front of that. We will keep our patrons updated on all of this. And you may have noticed, we decided not to decorate Lions Lake this year. But we did.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, I know. Those tractors will look pretty good all around. But I am, I don't know if you've seen the community center all nice and
Yeah.
decided to put our lights around that and it looks, I think, very nice. And so that has turned out well for us. And last but not least, we've hired a new assistant director. He's going to be starting next week. His name is Tony Albertina. He's from Decatur, Illinois, and their department district has about 100 full-time employees. So he comes from a very large department, had a lot of experience in doing a lot of programming as well as administrative, and also has his master's degree in Parks and Public Administration. So I'm excited that he's coming forward, and that's all that I have, unless you have any questions.
Did we lose somebody or?
I am sorry, Brandon Mayberry, our assistant,
Okay.
about a month and a half ago, he decided to move on and do some business on his own. So
Okay.
sorry to have him go, but
He's done a great job over there. So,
yes, yes, very much so. And so this transition will be kind of seamless, and it's a lot of work, but it's still going well. So.
And we understand the geese are back at the lake,
The
right?
geese are back.
Oh, gosh.
Well, the good thing is too, some of the water's back. So
Yes.
We noticed that.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
thank you.
All right, thanks, Chris. City staff update, police department.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Just wanted to inform you, we got 2 graduate from the academy on Wednesday. So they'll start into our training program shortly after. We have 3 conditional offers out to 3 prospects. One actually is an officer, so that would be nice if they make it through our background and make it through all that process. Axon, all of our tasers, cameras, drone is in. It's in a storage office right now. It'll be around February, March timeline for training everyone up on it and trying to get them in service. So appreciate that support for getting those ordered and getting them in. Our red dots and holsters for our pistols are in. We're training this week on them. We're going to indoor range and knob. We're having to rent it, but it's indoor range and it's not too awfully bad for the price. It will be better for servicing the weapons, taking them apart and putting red dots on and doing all that enclosed, having them having the instructors do that. So I was also informed by the sheriff that they're going to start charging for the use of their outdoor range. They built it approximately 8 to 10 years ago. So we're gonna have to look at budgeting for that. I don't know what the numbers are yet. I understand that from their perspective, it costs a lot of agencies are using it and they're getting a lot of wear and tear on it. So they're starting to have to replace some of the backing and stuff like that. But just some information I have moving forward. Thank
Chief,
you.
oh, go ahead. Please.
Ticket writing.
Yes,
So-
we're still, I meant to bring that up. We're researching still. We're leaning towards Zerker. We went and met with other agencies and that's our system that we have already instead of Digiticket. But I'll be meeting with staff in the future and seeing where we're at with that. But it looked like the other agencies actually really love that system. So the only difference was you can't scan the license and it goes into the system, but when you're running it, it uploads into our system anyway. So just a little bit of drawback there, but still a good system. So
And just to clarify, when you say the system that we already have,
that's our in-house computer data system that we have, Zerker. It's with our servers over at
just wanted to
office.
clarify, we currently don't have digital ticketing.
No, we
this
don't
would
have
be-
Digiticket. We don't have any of that stuff yet.
Right.
We're just making sure that we get the best system for our process. So
Just gonna say, we greatly appreciate how the police handled the shooting down in South Mitchell. Our condolences to the family of Tony Barron. Gave his life protecting a young lady and also the lady that helped the victim, I guess, get away, Raylan, away from there. But I know we're talking about applying for like a National Heroism Award or something for Tony, but
yeah, I received the email from the that program actually shortly before you forwarded that to us. I was looking at it a little bit. We met with the family last week. We were looking at bringing a proclamation forward this meeting, but I just have so much going on. We wanted to sit down with the family, let some things settle a little bit. So I'm looking at more like, I think the January 12th meeting, bring that proclamation, but we have, I believe, 2 years for that other nomination. So I'm kind of wanting to let some stuff settle down because it's a pretty good application to do that. Crime scene diagram, all types of stuff. So I met with investigations on it and we kind of want to let the case kind of settle a little bit. So,
but your response was fantastic. The school district was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
we strive for perfection. We don't always get there, but we try to do the best we can. So.
did a great
Do you
job.
know if the domestic victim was able to get help, get secured?
I'm gonna keep that close to my sleeve.
Okay.
'Cause, I know the individual's family and that's their handling it. So
Perfect.
thank you.
City staff update, Public Works.
Good evening again. I don't know if y'all noticed, but it's a little cold outside and that white stuff fell last Monday, about 4 inches of it. So projects have slowed down. But they are starting back up last weekend, this week again. Lions Lake is filling up as we've noticed. Geese are back. Things are still moving forward with getting the bump outs. The floating dock will get installed when the water is all the way up. Trails finished and things like that. So we're still moving on. Things are happening. McGuire, we're still waiting on the signal poles. We are keeping the old poles and arms for use, maybe to replace or repair or put in other places. There's been discussion about using some of them at the Young and Holden intersection and get away from those hanging wire. So, but we've got to get, it's got to get put in the budget and figure out engineering if we need to update and improve that area. McGuire as you all have been invited, hopefully, December 19th, 2:00, there's going to be a ribbon cutting. Finally saying, yes, the phase is done. So we're looking forward to that. We're working on that plant expansion's going well. Fortunately, concrete takes longer to dry or form up and harden up when it's colder, so that project slowed down a little bit too. But again, that project isn't projected to be completed until next October. So we still got a lot of stuff going on out there. Things are happening. Let's see, it's just,
Cedar Court.
oh yes, Cedar Court is going on. It did slow down again last week due to
Cold.
the weather. They were out there today removing more of it so that J.C. Myers can come back in and replace it. It is going.
To be warm enough tomorrow for concrete.
Yeah, well, the rest of this week should be warm enough until the weekend again, but so. Any other that I can think of? Yeah. There's others, but smaller.
It's been
projects.
quite a year. 2025 has been quite a year, so great job to get us to this point, so.
Lots going on. So
Yep,
that's all I got.
appreciate it. Of course, the star of the night always, city staff update, Warrensburg Convention and Visitors Bureau, Marcy.
Here I go. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'd just like to say a special thank you. Friday night was awesome. The 8th Annual Community Lighted Parade, which is sponsored by Love What's Local. I'd like to reiterate, so many different organizations, individuals come together to make that event possible. And I want to do a special shout out to the City of Warrensburg's Public Works crew. They are the first ones out there. They are out there the day before. They are the very last ones to leave. As we were pulling our wagon with all the supplies from the Santa letters and all that into the office, the crew is still out there. They're pulling up the barricades. They're pulling up, the different things. And so that event is truly, it's truly magical. It really is a great feeling. I think it's a personal feel good for me to see all the smiles and hear all the laughter. But that crew comes together. And, Phil just mentioned 4 inches of snow on Monday night. I can't imagine the hours that they were working. And here they were Friday night, from 4 o'clock to probably about 8:30 looking at me. So if you see that crew, please give them a special kudos because we really appreciate them. A lot of our events that we do in our community, and I'm really blessed to be able to see them because of my position, but you see those guys, the same individuals, they're out there working. They're putting this, the street signs, the other things, the trash cans, all of that. That public works crew is pretty awesome. So, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are